The windows are all done. It's time to turn the attention back to the inside of the caravan. I'm going to remove all the hood lining. Once it's out, be installing 12 volt lighting, make things very efficient, and then it can run off battery, and also being able to insulate, pretty important. Make life a bit easier for putting the plywood up. I've gone around and put this beading right up along the edge. Otherwise what tends to happen is there's nothing there, and then your plywood can sort of flap around and you don't get a nice tidy join between your wall and your roof. Okay, wiring on the roof's all done. Real simple way of stopping the polystyrene touching the wiring is just put a strip of plywood over the top, put a couple of nails in it. Super easy, a lot easier than putting in conduit. But it's really important to stop the polystyrene touching the wiring. Otherwise the polystyrene will suckle the plasticizer out of the insulation, the PVC around the wiring, and then it cracks and it's no longer insulating. So then you'll fail your electrical cert. So do make sure it's separated. Fully insulated, all the wiring has been isolated from the insulation to stop it cracking. I've used some 3mm ply between the wiring and the poly. All the 12 volt system is in and wired and tested. Everything's pre-wired for electrician. That's beyond what I can do. So time to do some lining. We'll start putting the ply up on the roof first, and then I'll show you a few little tricks for cutting out the templates for doing the walls. First sheet cut, I highly recommend painting the back of the boards, just in case you get some condensate up in the roof or in the walls. Really stops that board being damaged in the long term. Time to do the curved ends. Not always super easy to do, but a really nice simple way is to use a bit of cardboard as a template. And what you want to do is you want to use the rib section or the rib lines in the same direction that you want to curve it, because then it'll act pretty much the same. So we'll make up a template, fit that, and then we'll cut the sheet out to suit. Time to get the top quarter panels in. There's some of the hardest parts to do. Just takes a little bit of muscle. So a couple of options: you can either use standard ply, and standard ply bends far easier in one direction than the other, so you just got to make sure you cut it the right way. Or you can buy special bendy ply. I've just got standard ply. I'll force it into shape and then secure it. It'll be pretty good. So I put a little lip down the bottom and the edges cut away, so that basically once it goes in, it can be tucked into place and it holds nice and secure. I find that a pretty good way of doing it. Little tip for preparing your inside boards. When you're doing your boards and you have to cut a big section out, don't cut right through, leave some little tabs. What it does is it means that you can move your plywood around with some strength to it without the risk of breaking it. If you try and move it around with the whole window cut out, very tricky, very high chance that you'll break the board. While I'm finishing off the ends of the caravan with the ply lining, I'm going to start laminating up some framework to do the overhead cupboards. So trying to do that curve can be quite tricky, but what I do is rip some timber down and thickness it so it's only 3mm thick per piece. Then bends really easy into that corner. So you laminate that up, glue it up, and then once it's dry, it's set in place and it fits perfectly to the caravan, nice and strong. Framework for the overhead cupboards coming together really nice. Everything's glued up, so now I'll be working on the rest of the framework. So each of these struts is basically lined up with a beam in the roof, so I'll be screwed directly in, and then towards the bottom I can screw it directly to the wall. It'll add a lot of strength to the caravan. So a lot of the internal furniture adds huge amounts of strength to the structure. Pretty important to get it right.